Hello,
Hi, how are you?
I am good. How are you?
I'm great. So, hi everyone. We have Sharanya Sharma with us. She is a personal life coach who deals with topics like success, growth, happiness, and overall well being. So, welcome, ma'am.
Hello, I'm so happy to be here, and I would love to know a little bit about you as well.
Okay, so my name is Swasti, and I'm currently pursuing psychology from Lady Shram College for Women. And I'm currently in my second year, and even I, aspire to become a psychologist and to contribute my services in the field of mental health.
That's lovely. Even I'm a second year student from the
Oh, that's
University, applied
amazing.
psychology honors.
Oh, that's amazing. A
So
great
please call me
connect then.
Sharanya.
Yeah, I've definitely called you Sharanya. And also would also like to introduce Mentor Mitra. Mentor Mitra is a career development platform who provide people with mentors who deal with people with providing them with right skills, giving them right direction, helping them to set right goals, help them with time and priority management and their overall growth and career development. So I think we can begin.
Definitely. It's so nice to be connected with you and to be going live with such a platform. I'm sure everyone's going to benefit a lot from this live session.
I'm sure they will. So, the very first question is: does communicating well and expressing well are the same thing?
See, when we speak of communication and expression, okay, I think communication, as we all know, is a process of expressing and exchanging thoughts, ideas, feelings, and emotions. So
Hmm.
expression is it's just a part of communication. So
Okay.
I'm sure they do not mean the same thing. But when you're expressing well, it's also communicating well. When you're communicating
Okay.
well, it's sort of expressing well, but communication is always two-way, and expression is more of a one-way thing. So they're definitely connected and related, but they're not the same thing.
Okay. So, could you, elaborate more, like what according to you is communication, or what according to you is expressing, like how they're different?
Okay, so I think the best ways to understand anything is through an example. So right
Yeah.
now, you and I are basically communicating. You're
True.
asking me questions, I'm answering them, we're exchanging ideas, and we're exchanging this, dialogue. So this is the
Yeah.
process of communication. But when you ask about expressing, so if you had to ask me, what are my thoughts about the current developments in the field of psychology? I'll be
Hmm.
expressing my thoughts, my feelings. So
Okay.
expression, that's how it's different. Communication is two-way. It involves, a monologue and a dialogue, everything. It's internal, external. That also, I think we can touch upon later. But
Yeah.
expression is more of just your expression, you telling, you showing, you
True.
making the other person know what you are
Yeah.
going through, what you're feeling. That's the difference.
That's very well thought, ma'am. Sharanya. So, how one should do to express themselves?
I think, yeah,
Got yeah.
no problem, no
Sorry for
problem.
that.
Would you please repeat the question though?
Yeah. How can we express ourselves better? Like, if somebody wants, that they're not able to express themselves
Hmm.
better, so how can they do that?
I think one tip that I always give, which really shakes people like a little bit, is to shut up.
Okay.
Just shut up.
Okay.
Seriously, sounds weird, right? But
Yeah.
of course, like I'll tell you why. So when you want to express or communicate something, what
Hmm.
people tend to do is to just start and go on and on and on without a goal, without a the structure to what they want to express.
Hmm. True.
That's when things go downhill. So if you shut up, or in other nicer words, if you just stay quiet, if you just think about it, once, just go through your goal. What is it that I want to express? Secondly, how is it that I'm expressing it? Like if I want to express something, I do it in an angry tone, and I do the same thing with a nice, polite, smiling face. It'll convey absolutely different meanings. So what you
Yeah.
want to convey, how you want to convey, then you think about it. Like, are you being sensitive to other people? Because
True.
communication and expression should always keep in mind the other people as well. So
Yeah.
it's not just about you, it's about them too. So keep in mind all
Hmm.
these things. Just take a little pause before you start expressing or communicating yourself, and then just think it through, and then say it.
I'm sure like there's also a comment that just listening and empathizing is the key, and I completely
Absolutely.
agree. Yeah, so when you take pauses, you actually get to know about the situation you are in instead of, just blabbering for the sake of communicating. If you're just blabbering and you're not taking a thought of what you are actually saying. I think that's really important. Thank you for such valuable
Exactly.
feedback. So the next question is that how much role or effect does body language has to play when it comes to communicating?
That is a very good question. So, right now, we're communicating and body language is obviously involved. You see me moving my hands and moving around. What if
Yeah.
I were to just sit like that and then talk to you?
Hmm.
Hi, how are you doing, Swasti? Oh, yes, this is a nice session. It
Yeah.
wouldn't work, right? So,
Yeah.
my body language, I'm telling you, anything you communicate is less than 50% what you say and more than 50% what you're showing through your body language, your expressions.
Hmm.
Body language or any non-verbal cues, also your voice modulation, your expressions,
True.
all of that. So it really, really matters a lot. So it has, and I think one of the most crucial roles to play after like the content of the message, or equally as important as that, is body language and non-verbal cues.
Yeah, so I think the very first thing which people say in each other is actually their appearance and the way they're actually
Hmm,
talking. Had we, would have been sitting like this and not moving the hands, I think the message would
right.
have not been delivered. So I think body language is quite important in communicating.
Extremely
Any
important.
any tip you have for the people who really don't know what is the
Hmm.
right body language they should have? You know, some people don't have that kind of an education with what kind of body language is suitable and what is not. So, if any tips you have regarding that.
See, body language and communication is not something that developed just today. It's
True.
been going on and on and on from a very long time. So
Hmm.
people, when they speak, they naturally have a certain kind of body language that they express.
Yeah.
So a
Yeah.
child, when a child is born, they don't know how to communicate, right, or what kind of body language is suitable or not. So I
Hmm.
think I don't know the country names, but if you do this or this, I don't know, in one particular country,
Hmm.
it's considered a very, very um what's the word? I'm forgetting the word. It's considered inappropriate. It's not
Okay.
considered something respectful. So this is
Yeah.
a body language cue, right? For us, it
True.
means this. So when it comes to body language, I think observing other people, it's very
Okay.
helpful. If you
Okay.
don't understand that, like if I'm sitting right now and if I didn't know how to carry myself in a public conversation like this, I would probably be sitting like that. But I've
Hmm.
seen people talk. I've seen people communicating. I've seen people who I think are good communicators. I've learned from people. So these
Yeah.
things can always be learned. So Google is such a nice thing. YouTube,
Yeah.
Google, they'll teach you so
Yeah.
much. There's so many Instagram pages teaching you how to communicate effectively.
True.
So
Yeah.
you can always learn it. Find someone who can teach you. Find a mentor. If you can't, online resources are always there at your disposal.
Yeah, and the very important thing is to actually observe. So there are very important TED Talks happening and many shows happen, which you actually observe the person how they're actually talking, whether it's on stage, whether
Exactly.
they're sitting, and the observing would be definitely helpful.
And one more
And
tip I would give is
yeah,
it's also equally important, I think, is to actually try it out yourself. Because
hmm,
I understand we hesitate. And trust me, if I'm sitting like this or you're sitting like this, I'm sure both of us weren't like this always. We learned along the way, right?
yeah,
So you experiment, you try things yourself, you see how people are doing, try to implement that. You'll eventually figure out what's working, what's not working, and practice, learn, just go on.
yeah, and another thing to add is you can also try mirroring. So if you are
Yes,
into a professional setup, if you are seeing that the person is sitting certain way, you can definitely mirror it, and if it also gives a great impression that the other person is being inspired from us. So if you actually mirror
exactly.
the other person poses, which you actually inspire and is actually authoritative than you, then it would be also great help.
And it
So
also
thank
shows
you.
closeness,
Yeah,
right? Like
true.
we study that in psychology, that
Yeah,
if I'm mirroring, naturally people tend to do that when they're talking to people whom they are close to, or whom they have a relation or connection with.
yeah,
So when you mirror somebody, it gives them the subconscious signal that, oh, this person is sort of close to me, and then they tend to like you.
true. And also, I think I'm extremely sorry for the
No problem.
disturbance. So sorry.
No
So
problem.
there's also one more thing that these digital spaces now we are like this is a live session and this is
Hmm.
actually the main area in which we are communicating in. So we could also search for the ways of different types of body languages which we can have during the webinars during the live sessions. So even that could really help because since it's a pandemic, everything is happening online. So we should also learn a digital body language, which is
Yes.
important for the webinars and for the live sessions. So I think that could also
And
be a great help.
always take care of your microphone and cameras.
True. And
Extremely
also,
important.
like, I have to scold my mom after the session. So even your
No, no.
surroundings also.
That's okay.
All
See, people
right.
I think are understanding now. We all have families. Like I hope like most of us who are here, we have
Yeah.
families at home. Or at least someone whom we are living with probably. Things keep happening. It's okay.
Thank you for understanding. So the next question we have is how to communicate effectively when we have moods like anger or frustration.
Again, I will say shut up. That's the key. Don't see when you are frustrated, when you're angry, okay, anger, rage, all of these emotions tend to take over. So your mind sort of really loses its capacity to think, to make judgments, to really, weigh options, pros and cons. The logical thinking kind of just the process gets disrupted. So when I'm angry, most of the time people regret things they've said in anger just because
True.
they weren't consciously aware of what they're saying, and later on they realize that, oh no, I messed up. So
Yeah.
it's better to first take a deep breath, just go from the conversation. And I'm not saying just abruptly storm out of the room. Maybe just tell the other person if for example, you and I had an argument and I were really angry. I would probably tell you that, you know what, I'm kind of angry. I don't want to say things I don't mean. So let's take a break. Let's take a pause. And once we both are calm, we'll talk again. So
True.
you can always use strategies like this. First, calm down and then talk. Don't communicate when you're angry or when you're frustrated. It's not
Yeah.
going to be helpful.
Yeah, and also another thing which I want to add is that if you really want to communicate, try journaling. Like, writing
Hmm.
the thoughts which you would have bursted out on that person, you can try writing them down. So you just, take a diary when you're angry, just note down all of the thoughts which coming into your head, and that definitely will, calm you down.
Yes, that's a great idea. And someone's asking, I think, what if kids irritate us? I absolutely understand kids can be really annoying, and anyone for that matter can be really annoying. But
Hmm.
if someone is irritating you, I think, when I get irritated, I have noticed a pattern that if I'm already frustrated or like tired, stressed out, any other cause that I'm already experiencing some sort of problem on my own, and then someone does things, that's when I tend to get irritated. Otherwise, child screaming here and there wouldn't probably irritate me, but it will definitely have a big impact if I'm already going through something maybe at my workplace. So first things first, if something irritates you, sit back and ask yourself, why am I getting irritated? Why is the irritation here? Like, is there something I'm trying to like escape from? Is there something that's bothering me? Address that. A lot of the times we don't have the energy to do that. Absolutely understandable. You have to just let it pass. They are kids. They will do
Yeah.
what they want to do, right? How much we can't control them. So you just have to maybe sometimes let it pass. Or if you see if a child is bothering you, must be something that he or she or they want to like tell you, or there's something that's important to them maybe. Otherwise, why would a child keep irritating you? So see if they have any needs, if you have any needs, what's the
Yeah.
connection? And sometimes the best thing to do is just ignore. If nothing else
Yeah.
works, just ignore.
We also have a feedback from somebody that my mom has taught me when you are angry with someone, you should take out the anger on them, but then not bring the topic up again. I'm really not
Hmm.
sure about this. Tell me any views on this.
See, I think everyone has their own approach, their own ideas, their own ways of dealing with things. And maybe that's the way your mom deals with it. Nothing is right or wrong, honestly. But I think it's more helpful to not take out anger at the moment, at that very moment. Like, if I'm extremely angry right now and I want to take it out, of course venting out is important. It's healthy. It's important to let the other person know what is it that's making you angry, if there's something they did, or but it's always more helpful to first calm down at least a little and then do it, because if you're communicating something in anger,
Just a
most
second.
likely you will.
I'm so sorry to
Yeah,
disturb. Just a second.
no problem.
I'm so sorry about that.
There's no issue.
Um,
So
so the next, yeah,
I'll
please
just
continue.
continue and finish along these lines. So basically, I'm saying that if you're angry and you take it out right there and then, chances are you will mess up. You will probably say something hurtful without intending it, or the way you say things might just be very, very hurtful to the other person. So it's better to, of course, let them know what was the problem, but calm down and think it through and then say it.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's very helpful. We also have one more question, that how can we be confident speaker?
How can we be a confident speaker? Um, a lot of it, a lot of the times people are nervous, or they're anxious, or they're not able to speak properly. They fumble. They just think that everything will just go wrong. But
Hmm.
is it really speaking that's the problem, or is it being judged by other people? The thought that what will they think of me? How will they perceive me? And what could go wrong in the whole process if I forget things and I'll be laughed at. So a lot of the times, not always though, a lot of the times it's just what will they think, how will they take it that bothers us. So when
Hmm.
you're starting off with public speaking, I think the first and most important challenge is to move beyond what will they think. Because if you
True.
don't try, you will never improve. So of
Yeah.
course I have messed up so many times. I remember my first live session. It went pretty well, but I did make so many mistakes and I learned from them. I fumbled, I forget things, I say the wrong things. Sometimes I see things that might be because of the conditioning we all have, something that might be insensitive. You learn
Hmm.
from your mistakes, along the way. So listen to people who you think are communicating well. You can learn from them. You can practice with your friends, family, in front of a mirror if nobody is there to listen.
Yeah.
Practice, put yourself out there. Gradually, you will learn. It's a process. You can't be born with amazing communication skills. You can't develop in one day.
Yeah, true. And also, one more thing, that if you're like going on a stage, so if there's a topic in which you're talking about, do research. So when you have
Hmm.
actually a knowledge about something you're going to speak, you definitely gets more confidence, and then the
Yes,
speaking skills also improve because you know that you've all actually done the research. So now me and Sharanya are talking about effective communication. I'm sure that she might have done research about it before the live session, or she has experience in talking about the same. So when we do research about the things which we are going to speak, I think there's a boost in the confidence. You feel more informative and more informed, and definitely the confidence shown in your speech, like we
definitely.
can see in yours.
Thank you. Preparation is really important. It is a
Yeah,
really key factor because if you're not prepared, you will naturally, you will know that I'm not prepared and how will I convey things, how will I put myself out there. So it takes away that entire, even when you prepared, people get nervous. So without preparation, I think that's even more.
hmm. Okay, so ma'am, we are having a lot of questions now.
Yes.
So we have one question from Sian, that are there any more modes of communication other than verbal?
Yeah, of course, there are non-verbal communication. There's, see, if you think of verbal communication, oral, written, and even sign language is, a form of verbal communication. It's considered to be a form of verbal communication. So when we just discussed about body language and non-verbal cues, right? So it supplements your oral communication. Like right now, what I'm saying, I'm using my hands. You can see my expressions, my body language. So
Hmm.
even if I were not saying anything at all, you will probably understand at least a little bit of what at least I'm feeling, or if I'm like when a child is born, okay, you can't really, they don't talk, but the
Yeah,
mother, the father, people around, they tend to understand, oh, he's hungry, he's probably crying,
yeah, true.
or he's making that grumpy face. So your non-verbal communication cues, your body language, they really, really are a very important aspect of communication, and they're a form of communication in themselves.
Yeah. So I think to add on this is, like, there is also a name of art, of expression of an art, like through
Hmm.
drawings, through dancing. There's a lot of
Yes.
things which we can communicate through art, which is, for me, is an amazing way to communication. Like, I've seen
Hmm.
dances in which it depict the whole story. And recently also, like, we are psychology students, we know role of music therapy and art
Yes,
therapy, which is actually is to communicate what is going inside, which we can't speak verbally, but could be happen through non-verbal platforms. So I think a role of art is also very effective way of communicating.
definitely. It's very, very beautiful as well. You enjoy it a lot more than verbal communication at times.
Yeah. So we have another question from Sneha, that do you think men and women communicate and express differently?
Yes, yes, they do. I haven't read the book, but I know about it. Men are from Mars and women are from Venus. I think that's the name of the book. And it talks about how men and women's brains are completely wired differently. So the biological structure itself, it's extremely different. So of course the
Yeah.
basic human stuff is there, but when it comes to the way the colors that men and women see, for example, they are different. women are known to be better at multitasking than men are. So there's a lot of like perspective, evolutionary perspective, this and that over there. But I think men and women definitely do communicate differently, and in many ways. So I'll give one example. Like for me personally, when I, who identifies as a female, when I express myself, I'm softer in my approach. Like I
Okay.
will not scream.
Hmm.
I'm not saying yelling. That's different. I will not scream. I will not, be very aggressive in my approach because the way I communicate is just like that. Now, for every woman, it will obviously be different, but it is a common observation that women are more gentle in their approach, and men can get more aggressive or more dominant. But again, it's not definitive. There's
Yeah,
always
you
a
can't
a range,
generalize it.
yeah, you can't. So there is a difference, but there doesn't have to be. Like there's
Okay.
no right or wrong over here. It is there,
Hmm.
it's not there, it's absolutely okay.
Yeah. And also when it comes to expressing, I think women are, I think, like, sharing my own personal experience, that I think women are more expressing than men. Like they will avoid maybe discussing about it, and they might be silent about something. And when it comes to
Mhm.
women, we are more open about things, like for example showing anger. And if it's between the fight between two people, so maybe the men be quiet and be silent about it, but women take up course of screaming, or taking out their anger or venting out. So I think, yeah, these two situations maybe differ, but yeah, definitely on this, that we can't
Yeah,
generalize it.
exactly. Because a lot of it actually also comes from the social conditioning and the social structure that has been there. So
True.
if when we say that women tend to maybe be more expressive, or if they tend to be more non-violent in their approach or non-aggressive
Yeah.
in their approach, and men show more dominance, more aggression, all of these things, they may not be, again, let's not get into that, but a lot of it comes from the social hierarchies, the social structure, patriarchal systems that have been there. So we
Hmm.
always have to keep in mind there are no right or wrong. People express how they want to express, and they might be different, they may not be different. We are nobody to judge.
True. So I think we have one more question, that is there any role of family in our communication skills?
Role of family, definitely there is. So when we are born, we don't know how to communicate. We learn the language which our mother and father are speaking, or our caregivers, whoever is our guardian or caregivers, whoever we grow up with, we learn their language. We learn the ways of communication. Like if our parents tend to be very if they tend to sideline things in a way, we also tend to learn that. If your caregivers were open about communication, if they taught you, or they themselves were involved in open communication about emotions, how you feel, if they listen to you better, a lot of the things, it really determines a lot. So when a person grows up, they understand, okay, that was the kind of communication pattern that I had. Of course it
Hmm.
can be changed. You can obviously, if you weren't very in a very positive and nurturing environment, you people go to therapy, they understand their past traumas, they work upon it. But family plays one of the it plays the most crucial role. Anyone who's a family or a caregiver plays a very crucial role, at least in early development of communication.
Yeah, and I think the role of upbringing too. Like we've discussed about observation. So you've mentioned that we observe our parents, that how they're,
Yeah,
reacting. So in many situations in which, the dad is too dominating, so the kids also observe and take
hmm,
up certain skills and certain way of communication. So I think I
exactly.
totally agree with you on that.
The words that the parents use, a lot of the times when children
Hmm.
start saying foul words, it's because one of the parents probably said that, and they didn't notice
Yeah,
out of habit, but the child really picks up along on all of these things.
true. Yeah. Okay, so I think we have a last question from my side. That do you think that communication is somewhat effective when we are emotionally unavailable?
Um, when we are emotionally unavailable to whom is everything, like, it has a context. So if you're speaking about being emotionally unavailable to others, or the person who's trying to express themselves, or you are trying to express yourself to them, or if you're emotionally unavailable to your own self,
Hmm.
because our own self and our own state of mind really determines a lot. So yes, it definitely does impact that. If I am, for example, emotionally unavailable to you while communicating, I will say hurtful things. I will not keep in mind that something might be hurtful to you, something might, offend you. I will not keep all of that in mind, and I will not
Hmm.
consider your perspective when I'm talking. So it will
Yeah.
really hamper the communication process. And if I'm unavailable to myself, I will not know my own state of mind. I will not know that I'm angry or pissed off about something. And I'll probably keep, going on and on without realizing that I'm talking like this or I'm communicating things like this because I am not in a good state of mind. So it
Yeah.
really does impact your communication process.
Yeah, I think that suffice the questions. And I think I'm done from my side. Any end message you want to give to the audience? Any last words of yours for the session?
Um, just shut up. So no, that's not the last message I want to give. I just want to say that if you want to become a more effective communicator, there are two things that you should definitely start with at least. First being that you should think about what you're trying to convey and you should be receptive to the other person. So your communication is not just about you, it involves other people as well. So whether it's your friend, family, the public, the audience, whatever it is, you have to keep in mind how they would want to be spoken to. What, like, for example, I'm expressing my thoughts in a certain way right now. I'm giving certain examples I know which will be relevant to the audience. If I
Yeah.
started giving examples of, say, football, not everybody is going to understand that, right? Because not all of them are football fans.
Yeah.
So you have to really keep in mind the other people, and you should always think through what you're trying to say. You should be self-aware and then talk.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Sharanya. The session was amazing. You really shared some valuable insights with us, and it was amazing. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you so much. I love being a part of this, and I'm surely looking forward to more of such sessions with you.
For sure. Thank you so much. Now we're ending the session.